You're watching Leafs Morning Take with host Nick Alberga and former NHLer Jay Rosehill. The show starts now.
Oh yes, here we go. Everyone's in the best shape of their lives ahead of training camp beginning on Thursday here in Toronto, presented by Bet365. It is Nick Alberga and Jay Rosehill. Dude, I'm starting to get horny about hockey again. How are you, buddy?
I'm in the best shape of my life, too. Everyone's in the best shape of their life. Good. You should be. You're in the National League, boys. But, yeah, dude, that countdown is ticking down in a hurry. 3 weeks till a puck drop. Are you kidding me? With lots to go in between, it is a good time to be alive.
It is, and I guess yesterday was like National Golf Tournament Day across the NHL, and it just seems like those quotes are out there every year regarding every player that just had an amazing, impeccable summer of training. The latest, I guess, Morgan Riley. I was like sort of laughing at Nick Waugh, who talked to the media at the golf tourney yesterday, and he was saying how Riley was buzzing around and looking good and looking great. Well, let's see if that's translating to regular season action now in the playoffs too.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, what's the point of being in the best shape of your life unless you're going to work your absolute nuts off and be really physical, right? I mean, that's where you could apply it. So I like that the guys are in really good shape and they're talking about it like they know it's important. As I know NHLers do, but let's apply it now, fellers. Let's apply that great strength and conditioning towards this team because it's coming down really soon here.
22 days away from the season opener against the Montreal Canadiens on October 8th. Our Super Chat charity partner this season continues to be Sick Kids. Want to make sure that your question or comment gets on the show. Hit us up with a Super Chat. Proceeds from our Super Chat will go to Sick Kids, ranked the #1 research-intensive children's hospital in Canada and third in the world. It's pretty crazy watching the video from the golf tourney yesterday. Brought back memories. I did tell you year in and year out that I worked at that golf course, and they still have the tournament at that golf course. We got to get down there, Rattlesnake Point, maybe next year and do the golf tourney, man. It brought back memories for me to see that, and it's like the unofficial start of the Maple Leaf season for me. Like, we're going to see these guys on the ice soon, which I'm jacked about.
Yeah, I remember doing those. It's fun. You get out there and meet some people, and it's kind of weird because, it seems relaxing and like you should have a few beers and whatnot, but you got camp like in a couple of days. So those are fun times. I think I rolled a golf cart with Nick Hagman in the thing with me. So I was off to a good start one year. But no, it's good to get the guys together and see them, say all their bullshit in front of the media. Oh, best shape of my life, like whatever. But usually the guys do look pretty good, and you can see who packed on some muscle in the gym and get some quotes and whatever. You know what I mean? Let's get camp going. Let's see who's looking like what. And the quicker we, bang through camp, and honestly, even exhibition season, but it'll good to be playing some real games where you can see some pairings and some line matches and some goaltenders and start to really wrap your eyes around what's going to happen here this season and how these guys are looking coming off the summer.
Today's pod's going to be fun. We're going to talk expectation. We're going to talk camp storylines. I've instructed Rosie to devise a top 3. I have a top 3, and we're going to coordinate, compare, and contrast. But I mean, every year there's always conversations to be had, but this year is no different in terms of storyline. So looking forward to that. We'll talk about the Prospect Showdown from over the weekend as well. Anthony Stolarz, who we caught up, welcoming him back to Leafs Morning Take. We'll play that interview in about 15, 20 minutes from now. Just absolute beauty. I could tell why you loved him as a teammate, Rosie.
Yeah, solid down-to-earth guy, right? You'll see that in the interview. I think that's part of the reason he has success in Toronto. And, I don't think he overthinks things too much, and that's a huge quality to have. I've been known to be a little bit of an overthinker and maybe focus on things that are out of my control, or maybe focus on things that don't bring me any positive energy, and the guys that seem to have success, especially in that market, are the ones that don't get flustered by outside things. They have kind of a one-track mind. They focus on what helps them, and everything else just kind of doesn't penetrate into their mind, which is a huge quality to have. You also saw Michelli say that as well, and I was happy to hear that because he said exactly that. I don't really overthink things, and I think that playing in this market is going to be fun, and it's not going to bother me, and I'm excited to get going with it, where you can kind of see that I feel like he was genuine in saying that, and there's a reason he said that, because an overthinker here. Things can start to snowball in your mind and things get heavy on your shoulders. And then all of a sudden it spirals out of control and it's hard to perform. This game's very mental and confidence is very huge. And playing in this market, if you start to lose it and then you start to underperform, things are, there's a dark road ahead of you. So it's nice to see these guys with, I feel like, the right mindset to play. And Stoli is certainly one of them.
League-wide, I thought it was a really, really bizarre and weird offseason. Not much happened. And along those lines, the Leafs continued to be linked to, like, forwards. Like, Roslovic was a guy, the latest, and every time there's, like, a former Calgary Flame out there, they're going to be linked to him. The latest being Dylan Dubé, who is one of the Hockey Canada players, reinstated, can sign as early as October 15th, can play in an NHL game as early as December 1st. You like the fit? 27-year-old forward, could play all three positions, had back-to-back 18-goal campaigns with Tree Living in Calgary, hasn't played since January 2024. Do you like the Dubé fit in Toronto, Rosie?
I like the player. I like the person. By all accounts, he was quite well liked in Calgary before all the shit hit the fan. And first of all, I am of the mindset that these guys should be able to get back in the NHL. They've gone through the due process that our society has laid out as far as what we hold as a standard for, criminal charges and whatnot. They went through an exhaustive process and came up with, these guys are not going to be charged criminally with anything. I can see what happened that night. I think I can read between the lines and understand what took place that night. It's very clear to me, and these guys should be allowed back in the NHL. They're going, what they have paid as far as a price already is mind-numbing, what they've been through in the last few years, and they're going to continue to be suspended from the NHL. They've paid their dues for whatever people could still think outside of the court systems that they did wrong, and I like the idea of it. But with the Toronto Maple Leafs, I'm looking at their lineup here, and all right, Dylan Dubé, player that's got a lot of upside, wants to make a comeback and probably has a lot to offer, but who are you replacing him with, right? Who are you replacing? There's already a logjam of forwards. We're looking at the lineups. I like that third line. Is he bumping Bobby McMahon out, or is he going to be a fourth line guy? Is he taking Yarncroke on the right side? Potentially. I mean, I think he'd be in a fourth line role if you were to consider coming to this team, would you not? And I'm not sure if he's more of a middle six guy.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, this conversation stems from Darren Dreger's hit on TSN 1050's First Up on Monday morning. I think it was just his speculation saying he wouldn't be surprised if Tree Living and the Leafs put their hat in the ring and take a decent swing at Dylan Dubé. That's the direct quote, by the way. And by the way, you're hearing that the Leafs haven't reached out to this point on Dylan Dubé, right? So I think that's important to keep that in mind. Things can change in the coming days, but I echo your sentiments. Like, they have $1.1 billion depth forwards. Dubé, for me, I don't know how you can seriously say right now he's a bona fide top six player. Like, granted, he's had that opportunity in the past in Calgary. It's worked. But like many other players, he has fought consistency issues offensively. And that's what makes him sort of a tweener, I like to call, between the second and the third line. And as you just talked about it, last time I checked, they got like 17 or 16 forwards here in training camp. They're already going to have to make decisions with Yarncroke and Kampf and Robertson. I just think he's a guy like too much of the same. Like there's no need to press it, no need to force the situation, I think, with Dubé right now.
Yeah, I think there'll be other opportunities that fit a little better with other organizations who could use a guy like him, maybe in a smaller market as well. I think these players, as they get back to the NHL, are going to face one more wave of backlash as they do come into a market, and that would only be amplified if it was a Canadian market. Just with the spotlight and the backlash of people who have made up their mind on what type of people those kids are, and what they did is unforgivable, apparently, and they won't take it lightly when they sign. So there will be a wave of that, and I think that that will go away once they get playing and other storylines come up. But I think it would be better suited to be in a different market with a different opportunity, not just with the players and the depth, but just with the spotlight as well. Like you said, the biggest storyline right now is the logjam at forward, and I have been hearing that Tree Living hasn't reached out in a meaningful contract type of way, just in hey, how's it going type of way. And I understand why when you look at the forward depth.
Yeah, exactly it. Maybe he can push out a Max Domi, maybe he can push out a Michelli. Again, there's just too many of the same type of player pushing for a roster spot. And ultimately, you bring in Dylan Dubé, it's the same conversation with Craig Berube. Yeah, you can give him a shot with the big boys. Is it going to work out? I think the only way I'm adding a forward right now is if I know it's a bona fide stud who's going to come in and make those guys better. Right now, I can't say that about Dylan Dubé. Are you ready to dominate your fantasy hockey league this season? Daily Faceoff has your back with the brand new DFO Fantasy Draft Kit, your one-stop shop for everything you need to build the perfect fantasy hockey team. We're talking player projections, updated line combinations, power play units, sleeper picks, bust warnings, and team previews. Whether you're a seasoned vet or a fantasy rookie, this kit has everything you need to dominate your league. So before you make your first pick or panic in round 5, head on over to dailyfaceoff.com/draft-kit and get your hands on the fantasy draft kit. Fantasy hockey domination starts at dailyfaceoff.com. As we mentioned, Rosie, a jam-packed edition of the podcast today. We have Anthony Stolarz coming up in about 15 minutes from now. And I thought it was a really fascinating conversation to tease that interview about his current contract and what he wants in his next contract.
Yeah, and I think we teased that with the clip. It was a pretty basic response. I just want to be paid what I'm worth, and seems like a pretty down-to-earth thing to request. I think anybody, whether you work in an office or work on the end of a shovel, or you're a lawyer, or you're a professional athlete, or you're a podcaster, you want to be paid what you're worth. And I think they will go back and forth this season over what exactly that is. And I imagine the Leafs will also be taking their time, not having a huge rush on it. He's not going anywhere right now, and they'll see how he looks this season. Coming off injury, obviously, the last game that he could have played, he didn't play because of an injury, which I think by all accounts is behind him, and he's healed up and he looks great. And I fully expect Stoli to pick up exactly where he left off, and will probably force the Leafs' hands to give him exactly what he is worth, which is probably a healthy number for a goaltender, but by all accounts, he's been worth it. His numbers were fantastic last year, and he was a big reason for the Leafs winning the division last year.
So our interview with Anthony Stolarz coming up at the Leafs Nation 401 on YouTube. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Leafs Morning Take, wherever you find your podcast. Make sure to leave us a 5-star review. And don't forget to visit theleafsnation.com. So we saw the Maple Leafs jersey for the first time this fall over the weekend, the Prospect Showdown. How about we start there? Did you notice that they actually wore the Leafs jerseys? If you recall, in the past couple of years under Brendan Shanahan, he liked them having their practice jerseys for something to play for a future. Like, do you like the difference now that they gone back to the actual Leafs jersey?
Yeah, I mean, I totally get where Shanny's coming there. He's kind of old school, and putting that jersey, any NHL jersey, but that one in particular on yourself, it should be special and it should be earned. On the flip side, when I would go to those camps and do that stuff and to throw that jersey on, it was special and you felt the weight of it and you appreciated it, but you also knew it wasn't the jersey. Like, you're not playing for the Toronto Maple Leafs right now. Yeah, the jersey looks like it, but in your mind, this isn't the real jersey. So, and then on the other side, you're wearing practice jerseys. If you're trying to bring awareness to this tournament and have people tune in wearing the practice jersey, is kind of a one-way ticket to thinking that it's kind of Bush League and looking the way as well. So I'm kind of indifferent on it. I get what Shanny's doing 100%, but as a player, I also knew that if you were wearing an authentic jersey of that team in a prospect tournament, you know damn well that it's not the real jersey and that this isn't the real thing, and you're still super hungry to put it on for real.
Man, it's pretty amazing, and I always take everything I see on social media with a grain of salt, but the overreaction to prospects and the way they played in 2 meaningless games in every market, like even Ike Howard. I guess they're really down on Ike Howard now in Edmonton. But the Leafs split their showdown games. They lose to Ottawa 4-3. They beat the Montreal Canadiens 4-1. Easton Cowan plays one of those games. I would say profoundly the guy who really stood out among others was Luke Hames, a prospect they signed at a college, Dartmouth. 22 years old. He blocked a shot with his face. He scored a couple goals, like everything you want to see. It was great even seeing some of the clips around the NHL, guys just shedding their mitts in September. I'm sure you love to see that.
Yeah, man. I mean, more to the point that these guys are starting to understand that the league is changing and teams are desiring some more grit and tenacity and all the Brian Burke superlatives. But I do like it. Guys that you get these prospects together, you talk about Luke Hames, you talk about Jacob Quillen and these guys that are, undrafted free agents that they've pulled out of college. They're, 6'1", 200 plus pound forwards. You see guys shedding their mitts and willing to, show up to the press box. Hey, I'm willing to do what it takes. I can put my balls on the line and I can play big boy hockey here because I know that's what it takes nowadays to win. I know that's what a lot of teams are missing, and a lot of teams are scrambling to get more of that. I love that shift in hockey, of course, and to see young guys adopt it as well is great. But there's players that looked good out there. Some guys that all of a sudden are going to be on the radar, which is great. But like you said, to start this segment, it's, don't get put too much stock into it as far as this guy's going to be a player with the Leafs soon, because it is a weird little tournament that got thrown together with a bunch of prospects. Can't put too much stock into it, but these guys will be at camp and we'll see if they can build on what they started there in that prospect tournament.
Yeah, and I guess like the big topic following this camp are like the youngsters, who's going to get a legitimate shot. And I suppose, like, I want to see Ben Danford and I want to see Easton Cowan play exhibition games now. Like, that's naturally the next step. Like, I didn't put much stock in Cowan's first game. Like, he was on the top line with Quillen, okay, but like now I want to see him with like actual players he could potentially play with in the NHL to start the season. Like you, I just two meaningless games. Okay, like Ivan Demidov was playing for Montreal. The guy's nasty. Like, I know they had Matthews and Nylander and those legs play this game or this tournament years back, but like, do you really need to have Demidov on the ice if you're the Montreal Canadiens? Maybe that's why the Leafs went just one game with Cowan, but the next step naturally is to see these guys actually play with NHL players, right?
Yeah, and that will be the step through camp. It's tough to get, unless you're physically there watching camp, it's tough as a fan to get a sense of what's going on in camp. But that exhibition season can tell you a little bit more for sure. And those guys will. I would be very shocked if Cowan and Danford didn't play exhibition games. There's a whack of them still. They're going to cut that down in the future. But you think like, as far as Danford's concerned, do you think McCabe and Tanev and OEL and Carlo, do you think they need to be, and Riley, do you think they need to play 6 exhibition games or whatever the hell's on the slate? No, we're going to give guys like this a look, and it's just one more step above what they just did this weekend towards showing what they can do at that level. Again, it's not the NHL, and it's not the end of the world if they look good in it, but there will be a better speed. Everyone says, you come out of camp and then you get to exhibition, and that speed is, quite a bit bigger, but you're going to get into the regular season, and that's a real big jump from the exhibition season. Now that's real hockey, and then the jump from regular season to playoff is exponential as well. So these guys are taking these steps, and we're getting to look at them, and we'll be able to analyze them a little bit, but again, take it with a grain of salt. These guys are pretty young. I don't think they're slated to be on the roster this year. Easton Cowan, maybe, probably the only one in that group, but yeah, Danford and him, I imagine, will get some exhibition games, and we'll get to take a look at them with a little higher caliber of players.
I would wonder the percentage right now, if we had to guesstimate, of Easton Cowan playing the first game of the season for the Maple Leafs. I don't think it's very high, and it's everything we just talked about with Dylan Dubé. There is 23 forwards, one-way contracts on this roster. Like, I just don't know where Cowan fits, and who knows, maybe out of the blue he has a crazy camp and they put him with Nyes and Matthews and he excels and you can't take him out of the lineup. But Rosie, that's the only way I think Cowan makes this team, is if he just has an exceptional camp. He finds a way with the big boys in that one spot that we're all looking to see. Is it going to be Domi? Is it going to be somebody else? And you can't take him out of the lineup. But it's never a bad thing to do and season a guy in the AHL, like we saw to a degree with Fraser Minton last year.
No, it's not a bad thing. And again, that jump from junior to the National League is so big, and there's only a special type of player that can do it. And I don't think Easton Cowan is that guy. Again, I'm all for getting my hair blown back by the guy and making very difficult decisions for the brass. But like you say, is he bumping Domi or Michelli? Is he, like, you'd have to bump Bobby McMahon down to the 4th line basically and have everyone shuffle down for Easton Cowan, who's so young. I just don't see that happening. And the storyline that would be, and then opening night, well, he better show us what he's got. And everyone's going, well, if he's going to mix up the lineup that bad and they must be high on him, my God, is this too much for him to handle? The storylines would be out the yin yang, and this kid would have to absolutely perform from the second the gates open. And I don't know if that sets him up for success in this market, right? I hope he has a good camp. I hope there's some chatter about him maybe, and then looking at numbers and putting magnets on a whiteboard and moving them around and stepping back to look at it. I hope all that happens. But again, I'm with you that I think that some time in the professional ranks on the Marlies in the American Hockey League would do this kid well. And I also hope that, over an 82-game season, there's going to be some ups and downs. I hope he gets a shot to play some games in the NHL, and they get to kind of let him dip his toe in the water and develop in probably the proper way for a kid like him.
Yeah, I would say first call up for Cowan, and I guess we'll see what else they do with some of the vets. If they can't trade these guys, maybe they end up on the Marlies roster. But I think, again, similar to the way they treated Fraser Minton, the proper, correct way to treat a prospect. Like you can't overgrow a prospect in the American Hockey League. And just because Cowan may think he's ready, there's nothing wrong with getting this guy professional experience. So certainly something to monitor over the next little while to see how he does in training camp. I think a telltale sign as well to start camp where they put Cowan in the lineup when he plays, I think will tell you a lot. But again, to your point, to promote what we're going to do later on with the camp storylines, there is a logjam up front when it comes to the Maple Leafs forwards. So a lot to decipher about as we get set for training camp, which officially gets underway on Thursday. It's Nick Alberga, Jay Rosehill, Leafs Morning Take out the Leafs Nation 401. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. This show is brought to you by Simply Spiked. And I'll tell you, Rosie, it was my old man's 70th birthday over the weekend, and my family was elated when I came home and had a case of Simply Spiked. And, it was a big seller. Was the blueberry lemonade, which is a personal favorite right now. Enjoy every juice drop all season long with Simply Spiked, available in 3 delicious flavors: Simply Spiked lemonade, Simply Spiked peach, and the newest one, Simply Spiked limeade. But it was a great weekend for that.
I know we're getting, I don't know, these late summers are starting to happen, I don't know, consistently for the last 5 years. It is cooking hot around here. There's no wind and there's no clouds. And I was sitting on my back deck. I was reading a book and just enjoying it before the snow starts to fly, which could happen next week for all I bloody know. But I said, oh, screw this. And I hopped over to the garage fridge and grabbed a Simply Spiked and enjoyed it too. It's like you say, all the flavors. I don't have a favorite one. They all just taste good. So I'm on board with that and trying to, I guess, soak up the last bit of summer. But again, I think they're pretty easy drinking no matter what you're doing.
I do read the DMs occasionally on the TLNDC Instagram account. Shout out to that dude. I don't remember your name, but he sent me a picture of him drinking a Simply Spike, which you love to see. These juicy beverages are 5% alcohol, contain real fruit juice, and are the perfect refreshing drink. Don't forget as well, Simply Spiked has been bringing the juiciness since launching in Canada in 2023. Now has 3 flavors, as we mentioned. Pick up a variety pack to try. Each flavor must be legal drinking age. Please celebrate responsibly. Pick up Simply Spiked at your local liquor store for your next hangout. And it was an amazing time for my dad's 70th birthday as we get set to bring to you Anthony Stolarz. Any last thoughts before we play this interview, Rosie?
No, it's just good to get these guys on mic and pick their brain a little bit. And I think it's just nice for the fans to get a sense of who these guys are and see them with a little bit more of an unfiltered interview than they would probably do right in front of their stall in front of 45 media members. So enjoy the interview, everybody.
Love it. Here is Anthony Stolarz.
Thanks for joining us, buddy. What have you been up to? How you doing?
I'm doing well. Just got back to Toronto last week. Kind of got some captain's gates going on, just getting on the ice with the guys back in the gym. So it's nice to be back in town and nice to start ramping up before the season here.
Stoli, great to see that mug, buddy. Thank you for doing this. How was summer? Anything stand out for you in terms of what you did?
Just busy, a lot of weddings, couple bachelor parties. So it was it kind of flew by just traveling all around. Came up here to Stevie Lorenz's wedding. So I was able to get back to Toronto for a few days and kind of go into the gym and see some of the staff and some of the guys, which was nice. But, it just kind of one wedding after another kind of adds up. And then before you know it, the summer's over.
Yeah, it doesn't take long. Stoli, I want to take you back to the playoffs last year. Obviously, getting an injury in the second round against the Florida Panthers. There, could you take us through that a little bit, and also update us on how you're doing and how you're feeling these days?
Yeah, I mean, it was obviously, just an unfortunate incident there. Just kind of got hit in the head there, and then probably about 5, 10 minutes after, just started feeling a little woozy and dizzy and whatnot. So, just thought it was best for myself and the team just to kind of, just go and take the right precautions to make sure everything was all right. And things took a little while to get back, but I think right before Game 6, Game 7, I started feeling like myself again, and obviously I backed up Game 7, but now it's everything's good. I was able to train, able to skate. Was probably on the ice 15, 20 times this summer with my goalie coach. So I've had no symptoms, and everything was good. I was able to kind of go full throttle this summer.
How close were you to returning?
I mean, yeah, I backed up for Game 7, so I was good to go. But obviously, it's Game 7 in the playoffs, so you kind of you're off the ice for a week or so, so it kind of takes a little bit to get back into it. So and Waller was playing well at the time, so I kind of was just there for moral support and just trying to rally the guys there.
Yeah, and I'm curious your thoughts. I know you're a pretty level-headed guy, Stoli. A lot of backlash and outcry about the play itself. Sam Bennett, he has a reputation. I was just wondering what you thought about the play. Did you think it was kind of innocent going to the net, or did you think there was more to it? Looking at it after being injured, did you have any thoughts on it?
Yeah, I think it was just an unfortunate accident. I mean, having played with Benny for a year, he plays a hard-nosed game, but I don't think there was any malicious intent there. I just think that, it was just kind of an unfortunate, incident where it just kind of got a bad spot, and it kind of threw me for a little bit of a loop there. And it obviously sucks to kind of have your season ended that way, but those are the cards I was dealt. So it's kind of was just try to support the guys as much as I can, try to be around them as much as I can, and just try to work my way back.
I'm sure that added to the emotion of having to watch that series, knowing that was your previous team. You won a Stanley Cup with them. You must be, even more fired up to start this season and get back to that point, potentially playing Florida, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you look at the strides that we took last year. Having a new coach, learning a new system. I think the guys towards the end of the year, we were starting to click, and we were really gelling as a team, and we were playing the right way. And I think coming into this year, I think everyone's got that fire in their belly, and another year of experience, another year under Chief, and I think that we kind of learned to play the right way last year, and I think we're just going to try to continue to carry that over into this year.
Yeah, and you mentioned that year of experience being in Toronto. I'm sure coming into it, you had, you know, people tell you that it's different in Toronto, and it is. Now that you've got that experience, what is different about playing for Toronto than the other organizations you've been in?
I would definitely say the media for sure. I mean, there's always more of a heavier media presence. But I mean, it's something that you just kind of learn to deal with. I'm a pretty level-headed guy, so you're just answering a few more questions, and your job's to go out there and play. And at the end of the day, that's what you got to do. You just go out there, play the game, and that's really all you can focus on. And I enjoyed my time, and last year, just trying to, you obviously, like you said, you hear about the media and whatnot, and for me, it's just kind of just another day. I enjoyed talking to all the guys and whatnot. So, and like I said, another year under my belt, and it's going to be a lot of familiar faces, and I'm looking forward to it.
From a fan's perspective, it always feels like you're in a rocking chair. How would you assess your first season on the ice as a Maple Leaf?
I thought it went well. I mean, obviously, the injuries are unfortunate with the knee, and then the head injury at the end of the year. But I thought I came back from the knee injury and kind of found my form in the second half there. And I think for me that's probably the biggest thing going forward is it's probably the best hockey I've played in my entire career. So to kind of have that that stretch from last year to kind of carry into this year, the confidence that I had, just being able to go out there and play, and just play free. It's kind of like I said, I'm an easygoing guy, so I enjoy just going out there playing the game that I love. And I'm just going to try to carry that from last year into this year.
Yeah, and being a goaltender is kind of a unique position. You always got your partner there beside you on the team. Sometimes there's a clear number one. Sometimes you share the load a little bit. You and Joseph Woll seem to both be able to elevate each other and share that crease. What's that experience been like, and how is your relationship grown through that first year of sharing the crease?
Yeah, it's grown tremendously. I mean, I kind of got introduced to Waller through our agent. We had the same agent, so pretty early in the summer last year, kind of just got his number, shoot a couple texts back and forth, and then you kind of come to camp, and you get to meet him face to face, and we kind of hit it off immediately, and our relationship grew throughout the entire year. And what I love about Waller is he's always going 100%. He's always pushing you, and through my career, kind of, I was a backup for the first 4 or 5 years there. That's, kind of was my role, and, just kind of pushing guys. So I think that we kind of have a nice tandem and relationship in terms of just going out there and practice and pushing each other as best as we can. And that's only going to make the team better. It's going to make practice a little more interesting, guys coming down and you're just stopping them left and right. So, I think that we kind of feed off of that with each other, and we're supportive of each other, whether he's playing or I'm playing.
You're really blossoming into the next Swayman Allmark pairing. Those guys loved each other, and it really resonates, man. Like, how do you make that relationship click? Like, what is it about that relationship that makes it work that way? Because obviously, you both want the ice. I mean, there's no question about it, but you work well together.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is, I think that we both want each other to do well. I mean, at the end of the day, it's about the team, and you want the team to succeed. And if he's hot and he deserves the net, then so be it. It's his job. His is to stop the puck, and if he's doing it extremely well, then I'm going to support him. And it's vice versa. When we were in playoffs last year, you come to the bench and, you're just always talking to him. He's always chatty. So, I think that relationship to kind of feed off of that, and I think it helps the team as well. You always want to, you always want to have, the guys getting along. And, I think the goalie tandem is no different.
Yeah, and Stoll, you'd mentioned in the past you've had that backup role, and you come to Toronto under a spotlight and have a chance to take on a bigger role. I think that when you pull everyone who is around the team and around the game and is following the Maple Leafs, it seemed like the team had a lot of confidence in front of you. You seem to have a calming presence on the guys on the ice. I imagine that gives you a lot of confidence. And what do you take with that confidence going into this season here?
Yeah, I mean, when you have the defensive core that we do, guys that are willing to block shots, guys that are willing to stand up for you if a guy gets too close in front of the net or gives you an extra jab, I think, as a goalie, you appreciate that a lot more. And, like I said, we have a great group off the ice. Guys get along extremely well. So, for me, knowing that, guys are willing to go to battle for me, I'm going to do the same for them.
Game 2 against Ottawa, you absolutely fucking buried Ridley Gregg, dude. I mean, as much as Leafs fans loved you already, that was like a turning point too, to see you stand up to your opponent the way you did. Did you feel that importance to be like, you guys aren't going to mess with me?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a bigger guy, so as a goalie, you can't really fight or do anything like that. But to be honest, I had no idea that it was him in front of the net. You're just so focused on the play, and you're so into the game. And whoever it was, I saw him in the corner, and he started coming back through the crease, and just kind of that, I kind of just lost it for a second and just threw a little shoulder in there. But it's just one of those things you just kind of get caught up in the moment.
Yeah, and now that you understand what it's like to be in Toronto, the familiarity there, the comfortability, the success that you've had so far. I know it's only been 1 year, but is it a place you could see yourself playing long term?
Yeah, absolutely. It's something that I'll kind of leave to my agent and Tree, and my focus is to kind of just continue and build off of what I did last year. I think that right now that's the most important thing is starting camp off the right way and getting some reps here in preseason, and once that opening night comes, that we hit the ground running.
What's important to you when it comes to the next deal? Security, fit, role, or something else?
I mean, I think it's just kind of, just getting paid what, fairly, something that, helps the team, but at the same time, shows that, they believe in me. So, like I said, I'll leave that to the agent and Tree. And for me, it's just more or less just kind of go out there and just continue to do what I do.
Now with camp around the corner, some changes have been made to this roster. Obviously, the playoff success hasn't quite been there in Toronto for quite a while. You could argue they took the best team out in the world to Game 7 last year. They lost their starting goaltender. What are some expectations this year for you guys on the Maple Leafs?
I mean, I think everyone's expectation is a Stanley Cup. I mean, you go into the season, you work so hard, and at the end of the day, you want to win the last game of the year. So, I think that that's our goal from day one, and it's gonna be a process. It's gonna be a challenge, but I think we have the right group here, and like I said, we took a step. We took a step here last year, and another year of experience. You're bringing some guys who most definitely can contribute, up and down the lineup, and the additions that we got last year at the deadline. Those guys are going to have another year of comfortability in Toronto and being around the team, and I can only see everyone just taking a step forward here.
Do you know any of the new guys that have come in here?
No, I was it Wazzy. I just played him. Michelli, same thing. So and then Dak, one of my buddies actually went to school with him in at Ohio State, so he kind of gave me the rundown. But I'm excited to see him play. I mean, we got two guys that are pretty big, and Michelli's a little shifty out there. So we've had the captain's gate here for a little bit. So just seeing them on the ice, I'm excited to see what they bring to the table here.
I was going to ask you too, because you win the Stanley Cup with Florida, and unfortunately we saw it again last year. But identity is a big word I would use to describe the Florida Panthers. Are you starting to see that a bit more here, even with the additions to get a bit grittier and greasier and harder to play against?
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, defense wins championships. So, you always see scoring go down in the playoffs. So, and that's because teams tighten it up. So, I think that if you can kind of get those 82 games in the regular season and kind of just build your game towards that playoff style, I think that that's probably the best way to, go forward and win games and win a championship. You got to play that, dump and chase kind of, hard, rugged game, and you have to be willing to sacrifice your body out there. So, I think, we grew a lot last year, and like I keep saying, I think it's exciting for us to get the year going here.
Stoli, great stuff. We're looking forward to the season getting underway. Thank you so much. Your second time here on Leafs Morning Take. Exceptional stuff, and we'll talk soon. Have a great season, okay?
Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
All right, there you have it. Anthony Stolarz of your Toronto Maple Leafs, and always in a rocking chair, whether it's an interview or on the ice, Rosie.
Yeah, I know. He's pretty laid back. He's a goalie. He's got a good mindset for a goalie. And yeah, he was 20 years old and I was 31 probably. So he was a young guy when I played with him. And, as time ticks by 10 years later, he's really made a career for himself. And I don't think he's ever made a bigger jump than he did when he finally got an opportunity in a huge market with a lot of media and spotlight. As we always talk about, it's difficult, especially for a goalie. You see the way this market has chewed up and spit out goaltenders over the last 20 plus years. He's a guy who has handled it very well. And like I said, took a huge step, and you can see in his personality there, you can kind of see why he's meant for that position.
If you enjoyed that interview, do us a favor, hit that like button, hit a subscribe button at the Leafs Nation 401. Okay, Rosie, let's get to some camp storylines. Top 3 camp storylines. You want to start this off for us? What do you got?
Sure. I don't know top, but the third line to me is I'm excited about. Obviously, we've made a big shift, and to me, that looks like that third line to me. I got it as Dakota Joshua, Nick Waugh, and Bobby McMahon right now, and that could change potentially on what happens with the couple lines above them, but it looks like it'll be something like that. And, there's a reason they went away from Mitch Marner, and there's a reason they've come up short in the playoffs. And everyone's like, well, we need more scoring. We need more scoring. Well, we had more scoring than the world could handle at one point in time, and we still get throttled in the playoffs. Why is that? I think they can't get the puck. Sometimes I think that when they start playing playoff hockey, those guys take a step back and the other types of players take steps forward. That third line, I think, is a line that when the playoffs roll around, again, you're probably not going to see it right off of the out of the gates and right off the bat with what these guys can do. But as the team starts to take shape and they start to, put their systems in place and get that identity that all teams get over the course of an 82 game season, I think that line's going to be big. When the cycles are happening and they're chasing and it's not a whole hell of a lot going on in the second period and we don't have the puck too much and there's no ozone time, a line like that's going to come out. They're going to bang, they're going to crash, they're going to take away time and space, and they're going to get the opposition on their heels and throwing pucks away. And that's where the skill and the offense is going to come from. So I'm excited to see that different look. And I think it's going to start there with that new looking third line.
What else you got with the other two?
The goaltenders, I mean, it's tough in camp and it's tough in the exhibition season, but I think it's kind of an afterthought for folks that are looking at this team, but I don't think it should be. Obviously, those two goaltenders in Joseph Woll and Anthony Stolarz had a really, really solid year. I don't think anyone could have asked for a whole lot more, but really want to see them pick up where they left off. And whether it's exhibition or not, they're going to be wins and losses does not matter in the preseason, but I want to see what they look like. Do they have that calming presence? Are fans looking going, I don't know which one I'd play opening night. I want that problem and I want them to pick up where they left off. My last one is, it's the top line and it's Michelli in particular. I want to see how he fits in. Can he get that swagger and that confidence and that playmaking ability that he had a couple of years ago? And can he start to find some chemistry with potentially the top line? I think could be Matthews and Nyes. And I'm going to be watching him closely as kind of the newest, highest addition to this team. How does he fit in? How does he look? I'm kind of excited to see that as camp gets underway in preseason as well.
I love this market. So many storylines, and I have 3 different ones from you, but one is attached to the top line. So number 3, I have, can Easton Cowan push for a roster spot? We always love the young players in this market. How can they acclimate? Like, what will the roster look like with Easton Cowan? Will he get a fair shot to make the team, or is he just a guy who is destined for the American Hockey League? I think obviously we'll find out in short order. He played 1 game in the Prospect Showdown, but who does he play with? Can he push for a roster spot? Is a big-time storyline for me. Number 2, who takes Marner's spot in the top line with Nyes and Marner? Is it going to be, Nyes and Matthews? Is it going to be Max Domi? Is it going to be Matthias Michelli? Is it going to be Calle Jarnkrok? Is it going to be Bob McMahon? I'm sure they'll think and contemplate a plethora of names. For me, I think the guy that stands out right now is Max Domi. Just listening to what Craig Berube has had to say the last couple weeks, in my opinion, I think it's going to be Max Domi who gets that first shot on the top line. But we almost made it 30, 40 minutes without mentioning the name Mitch Marner, but let's be honest about it. It's a polarizing conversation. Who is going to fill his roster spot on the top line with Matthews and Nyes? So that's my second storyline. And my top storyline, far and away, it is not even close. Which Auston Matthews are the Maple Leafs going to get? If it's the guy who really struggled to stay healthy last year, he went on a bird, he went to Germany, then they're in big time trouble. There's no point in doing this show. There's no point in doing this, covering this team, because without Auston Matthews, the Leafs are not winning shit this year. So we're going to find out really, really quickly what this guy has. We've heard all the right things the last little while. In a couple of interviews, hearing different people talk about Auston Matthews, it's been nothing but positive stuff. But now it's another thing to see Auston Matthews. Are we going to see the guy who looked like he couldn't be stopped when he scored 69 goals, or is he going to be a guy who's just plagued by injury the rest of his career? Like, by far, that is the number one thing I'm looking at to start camp here.
Yeah, that's hard to argue with. I've kind of had him put the blinders on with Matthews and just fingers crossed. We know what he can be when he's at his best, and we know how he looks, which was sort of average to his standards, which was most of last year. And he's kind of had a bit of an emerging pattern of really hot year, cool off a bit, really hot year, cool off a bit. And if that pattern continues, I expect him to be hot this year. But I 100% have been vocal about feeling that his health has been holding him back. Obviously, the Leafs are very tight-lipped about that. We have no idea what it is that he went to Germany for, what was holding him back, why he didn't look like himself. I think it's affect his phenomenal shot and ability to really put that puck where he wants to very quickly with his release and going into the spots that he loves to be, where he scores all those goals. I'm hoping to hell that he is healthy and we can see that dynamic play that he is so used to giving us. But that is a massive storyline without a doubt.
Yeah, I mean, everything he went through last year, again, it does not help that there's absolutely no transparency when it comes to injuries with the Maple Leafs. Like, we have no clue why this guy, what even happened 2 postseasons ago, if you recall? They had the old Amazon series there. We never found out what the hell was ailing Auston Matthews. Ditto for last season, a lot of speculation, but we never see NHL players go cross-continent to a new continent during a regular season. And for me, like, he is everything to this Toronto Maple Leafs team. He's the captain. He's their top goal scorer. I want to see a revenge arc type season for Auston Matthews. And most importantly, health is of concern, I think, with any player in this league, but namely a guy coming off that type of year where it didn't seem like he was healthy at all last year. And it just shows you how damn good he is. He still cleared 30 goals, right?
Yeah, for sure. And again, I think that this roster, and obviously Tree Living's of the same mindset as myself and a lot of other people, but I think that the way it's constructed and the way they're going to inevitably play, you're going to get those waves of momentum where, 3 shifts in a row we're pouring it, and then all of a sudden in comes Auston Matthews into one of those sweet spots and bang, as opposed to in the past, it's like skating in mud, turnover, D zone, breakdown, odd man rush, and then he's got to get it somehow in pot one. And I think it's going to be hopefully a little easier just from a team standpoint where they're playing the right way. They're in the offensive zone. They're taking away time and space. They've got the opposition on their heels. That kind of opportunity is huge for Auston Matthews to do what he does. And I know that Mitch isn't there anymore, and they've brought in some other players, and that is going to be an adjustment. But just from a team and game perspective, the way I think they're hoping that it's going to roll, it will give opportunity to Auston Matthews to jump on some opportunities with some of the momentum and the way the game's hopefully going to be played with this new identity. I think it could actually support him quite a bit better as well. And again, you got to have those guys around him to find that chemistry and get off to the right foot. And hopefully he's healthy and he can be a big part of that.
I'm going to be sick to my stomach if it's like mid-October and we're talking about how good his all-around game is. Like, no, the guy's the best goal scorer on the planet. Every time he shoots the puck, it usually goes in. And if he doesn't, then there's an issue. But that's the one thing I'm looking at is the precision shooting. Like, you could tell something was off last year, especially watching him earlier on in his career, the 69-goal season. It just felt like once every 2 shots, I would say, it went in. Last year, he'd put 6, 7 on net. Right into the chest of the goaltender. And that's when Auston Matthews is on or off by the precision in his shooting. So I'm looking at that for sure.
Yeah, agreed. I don't know. It kind of goes without saying that he is the engine of this team, and we know how good he can be. So all we can do is sit back and watch. And thankfully, we don't have to talk about it too much longer. We can watch it with our own eyes here as camp is coming down the barrel on Thursday here. So it's exciting.
Hey, a couple folks in the chat have been asking about the guy in Edmonton. Didn't I tell you, dude? I think we had this convo on July 1. Here we go. I mean, camp's going to open up. What do you think the first question's going to be to Connor McDavid? What's going on? I mean, this is spiraling, dude. I saw you on Instagram. I'm always lurking. I saw you on Instagram on the Oilers Nation, one of their reels, and you started to wonder a bit about the future of McDavid in Edmonton, right?
Why, did I comment something or what?
I think so,
It's fun. It's fun to stir that pot. Look, it's a reality. I cannot believe how many questions this guy's taking and how often he's opening his mouth as the absolute pinnacle of superstars in this league. Yeah. Talking and making comments like maybe no term, like maybe I don't, like he actually physically said that. And that is sending alarm bells. It took a while to get to Edmonton because there would be in denial and, they think he's going to sign and he doesn't have to sign July 1, but we're looking at camp. We're looking at the season. I do not think he's going to be signed. Do I think there's no way he's signing in Edmonton? No, I think there's a chance that he does 100%. That's a possibility, but there's also a very real possibility that he is looking elsewhere, and where that is, everyone's got their idea, but I know people hate the Leafs or some people do, and they don't want to give any credit to that rumor, but there's a lot of reasons to think that he would. I mean, he's from there. You can pull up pictures of him in his Leafs pajamas with his Leafs blankets and posters and all that stuff. He's like a John Tavares type of guy who you could think it would be a similar situation where he does in fact leave where he's been for a long time. It would piss off a lot of fans, no question, but he wants to come to this market. And I do believe that some of the sentiment online where winning a cup in LA is great, winning a cup anywhere, fine. But to win one in Toronto, I mean, that would be historic and legendary stuff where if he could do that, I don't think there could be anything bigger for Connor McDavid than to try and win a cup in Toronto for that team. And it's a storyline that is as big as the player himself to follow that storyline and to try to make that happen. I don't think it's out of the realm. Don't want to get ahead of myself, but it's certainly exciting to even throw it around as Leafs fans.
Look, I've had pushback talking to various people the last 3 or 4 months on McDavid. He's not leaving. If he does leave, it's not going to be Toronto. You're telling me Connor McDavid's going to go to the Los Angeles Kings, the team that can't beat the Edmonton Oilers, and be like, I'm going to win a cup here with Ken Holland and Cody Ceci. And then the New York Rangers, I don't know where they're getting this magical cap space from to be able to do this. Okay. This is John Tavares all over again. There is no doubt in my mind. I put the article out in the LeafsNation.com 5 months ago. I said this 7 months ago. The player is thinking about it. He is human. He has to be thinking about a childhood dream. That's all I'm going to say. John Tavares, same conversation. It's polarizing. It's a Toronto Maple Leafs. Like, why can we talk about Sidney Crosby and the Montreal Canadiens in the same vein, but we can't, discuss the prospects of Connor McDavid being a Toronto Maple Leaf? Like, it's insanity to me. And people are like, oh, he's always linked to the Leafs, always linked to the Leafs. This is about a story about a kid who was a Toronto Maple Leafs fan. And now he sees the opportunity, not to speak for him, July 1, 2026, after we all saw his face at the draft lottery when Edmonton won and the Leafs had a chance to win that draft lottery. We all saw the guy's face. And now he realizes, I'm this close to being a Toronto Maple Leaf. I'm sorry. I get fired up over this shit because I spent all last year people trolling the Leafs and Matthew Nyes and offer sheet this and offer sheet that. And we had to push back and saying that was never going to happen. Why can't we contemplate, altering conversation about McDavid in Toronto? I love it. Let's do it.
Well, you can. And I think people are stupid to say he is absolutely not. Nobody knows what he's going to do. I don't even know if he knows what he's going to do. So how would some dickhead on his couch know exactly what Connor McDavid's going to do? Nobody knows. But we do know that he has not signed, and he has said a lot of things that would lead towards you thinking that he may not sign. And if that is the case, going to Toronto, I think, is a very real possibility. I think I venture to say it's the most likely possibility. Like you say, why would he want to go to LA? Why would he want to go to New York?
Exactly. You're telling me Connor McDavid's going to... Yeah. Like, he's not leaving Edmonton to go to Los Angeles to the Rangers, the Maple Leafs sitting there with cap space. I mean, this is no fluke, folks. I'm sorry to break it to you all. The Leafs have like $25 million cap space. It's not just sitting there for Alex Tuck, okay?
I know. And you talk about a player of that caliber. They really, I mean, how do you get that good? You really care about how you are looked at and what your legacy is going to be. And we talk about, being in the Hall of Fame just isn't enough for a Connor McDavid. He's that good. He's already in the Hall of Fame. Like, it's what can you do with your potential? And I don't think there's anything bigger than a player like that could do than to come to Toronto and finally win a Stanley Cup. There would be nothing bigger that he could possibly do in the game of hockey. And a lot of reasons that we've mentioned line up to that being a possibility. It's not a complete shot in the dark or out of the realm of something that he may be thinking. And again, we don't know what he is thinking, but that is certainly a possibility. And I think it's as likely as anything else at this point in time. That being said, I wouldn't also be surprised if he signed a 2 or 3 year deal back in Edmonton and stayed there and kind of took the air out of this conversation. But as of right now, from everything we can tell, it is definitely a possibility.
This is real if the season starts and McDavid doesn't have a new contract. I'm sorry to break it to the folks in Edmonton, but it seemed like a formality. And it also shows me nobody has any clue what the hell is going on. Okay. Because on July 1, it was a formality. He's signing, he's taking his time. And now we're sitting here, camp's going to open up and McDavid's saying the wrong stuff. Like if that was the Leafs and that was the role, and I'd be scared shitless right now what's going on if I was an Oilers fan. Anyways, it's time now for the last call. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm waiting for him to say I'm done talking about it and trying to put it behind him. It's going to be the first question he's going to get every day. If he continues to answer the question, he's going to have to say, I'm focused on the team. I'm focused on the season. Do not ask me about my contract. I will not answer any more questions. I think that's the next step. And then it's just simply a waiting game.
Wild stuff. It's time now for the last call, brought to you by Bet365. Whatever your bet is, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app and get in on the game. Use code NATION. That's NATION, NATION. Must be 19 or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, visit connexontario.ca. Got to back the Blue Jays again tonight, Rosie. I'm taking the under. The under's been hitting a lot for this Blue Jays team the last little while, squeaking out wins left and right, the sweep over Baltimore. So I like the under between Tampa and Toronto tonight.
Yeah, I like that the Rays are a little better in a low-scoring game yesterday as well. I'm going to take the run line and think that they're going to win, but the value is there at like plus 140 or something with them to win by 2. So I'm going to jump on that train, and hopefully they stay hot as they've rattled off, 4 or 5 wins now, and they're 5 games behind are the Yankees after getting as close as 2.5 or something. So definitely hot. I'm going to ride them on the run line.
Fun time of year for sure. Again, our thanks to Anthony Stolarz for returning here to Leafs Morning Take. The next time we talk will be on Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, Rosie, where camp will officially get underway for the Toronto Maple Leafs. How about that?
Exciting times. Enjoy it, everybody. We are starting another season. It is exciting. So thanks for joining in, and we'll see you on Thursday.
I'm going to camp on Friday, so I'll have a full recap next week on the show. I'm going to go check things out there in Etobicoke for the Maple Leafs again. So thank you to Stoli. Also coming up on Thursday, last week we caught up with Oliver Ekman-Larsson. So we're going to play that interview coming up on Thursday. Thank you to everybody in the chat at the Leafs Nation 401. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Leafs Morning Take wherever you find your podcasts. Make sure to leave us a 5-star review. And don't forget to visit theleafsnation.com. Thank you to producer Vic. For Jay Rosehill, I'm Nick Alberga. We'll talk on Thursday. Take care, everybody.
Go sniff those jogs. Damn it!
Make sure to check out more of our content right here on the Leafs Nation YouTube page. We got long-form interviews. We got clips. We got epic rants by Jay Rosehill. We simply have it all. And don't forget, you can find out much more at theleafsnation.com. Thanks so much for watching.